The Prime Minister will be hoping a campaign pitch over a bitter dispute involving volunteer firefighters in Victoria will help shore up coalition support in the state. Malcolm Turnbull spent most of the day in Geelong meeting Country Fire Association firefighters and criticising the Andrews government's handling of the dispute. Political reporter Matthew Doran joins me now from Parliament House. And Matthew, what impact could Malcolm Turnbull's involvement in this fight have?
Well, Catherine, it's a fight that the coalition sees as a potential vote winner, and as it's played out over the last few weeks and recent months, it's even led to the resignation of a Victorian Labor cabinet minister. Now, the Country Fire Association volunteers claim that the Victorian government and the Professional Firefighters Union are trying to diminish their role in the organisation, undermining them in favour of paid firefighters. Now, the cynical would ask why Malcolm Turnbull is getting involved in this relatively local issue. Now, he argues it is a genuine problem that needs to be addressed and that the volunteers have been hard done by in these enterprise bargaining agreement negotiations. But it has to be pointed out that it is also something the coalition has identified as a vote winner, particularly in some of those semi-urban marginal seats on the outskirts of Melbourne that they're battling to hold on to. They include seats such as Corangamite, Dunkley and Latrobe, whose margins range between about 3.9% and around 5.6%. Now, Malcolm Turnbull, as you mentioned, met with volunteers this morning in Geelong, along with the Liberal MP for Corangamite, Sarah Henderson. He heard some of their concerns and gave them this undertaking.
The only way you can be sure that you will be protected from this union takeover is to return the coalition, my government, on July the 2nd. And believe me, the first item of business will be to protect you. And we have the means to do it, we have the legal capacity to do it, and we will act on it.
Well, Matthew, speaking of localised campaigns, the opposition leader was also waging one in Adelaide today.
That's right. We often think of a federal election campaign as being a national approach, but there are 150 lower house seats and each bring with it some local issues, and we're seeing more of those sort of offshoot campaigns springing up where local issues have to be addressed as we get closer to that July 2 poll. South Australia is going to be a very tricky state for both the Coalition and Labor, hence why Bill Shorten's travelling roadshow moved there again today. The big concern for both major parties is what's been dubbed the X Factor. Both parties worried very much so about how much political damage they'll suffer at the hands of the Nick Xenophon team. Now, some of the polling suggests that Senator Xenophon could secure an extra 3 Senate seats and is in with a serious chance of picking up lower house seats as well, or at the very least eroding away the Coalition and Labor support bases there. And while Bill Shorten's main battle cry over much of this campaign has been that the Coalition wants to privatise Medicare, and no doubt we'll hear some more of that tonight in his first of 2 interviews on the ABC's 7:30 program. When it comes to Nick Xenophon, he takes a different approach and focuses on what he sees as serious inconsistencies in the Nick Xenophon team's approach to penalty rates.
We are not like Senator Xenophon's candidate, who went on television this week in a debate with our own Nick Champion and was asked a question. The Liberals present a bill to move penalty rates away from small business. He said, oh, well, I'll consider that. This is the problem in this election. You're not just voting for Nick Xenophon. You're voting for a ragtag militia of candidates, many of whom with some dubious views, particularly on penalty rates. If you want to protect your penalty rates, you vote for Labor and you vote for our plan.
The opposition leader speaking there in Adelaide a little earlier today. Now, it needs to be mentioned that Labor are also running advertising in South Australia on the Nick Xenophon team's policy on penalty rates. And yesterday, the very popular senator said he was considering legal action over that campaign, which he claims is misleading and defamatory.
Well, Matthew, finally, one more question. We are getting to the pointy end of the campaign, and one Labor MP has enlisted the support of a special weapon in his campaign.
Yeah, that's right, Catherine. Pat O'Neill, Labor's candidate for the seat of Brisbane, has put out a new promotional video today, and the star of it is Mr O'Neill's dog, Thumper. Let's take a look at some of that.
Oh, hey guys. Thumper here. I'm Pat's dog. He's the Labor candidate for Brisbane, and my best friend. Here's a map of Brisbane, where Pat's running. Here's Pat's bike, so he can keep up with me when I run.
No doubt trying to appeal to some of that talking dog lover demographic in his electorate there. And, you know, we see many politicians posing with their pooches all the time. Mr O'Neill's boss, Bill Shorten, is very proud of his bulldogs. But if we take a slightly more serious look at this, Brisbane, the electorate of Brisbane is shaping up to be a very interesting campaign there. It's a marginal coalition-held seat, and the candidates for both the major parties, Pat O'Neill and the LNP's Trevor Evans, are both gay. And that's the very first time that has happened in Australian political history. Catherine?
One to watch there. Thank you very much, Matt Doran.